Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another insane best of 5 of StarCraft 2. Today we have Cure versus Classic, as we see the first pylon of Classic being halfway across the map. This has been a build order that has been a little bit more common recently, often going into double gate rather than just a single gate. So where the single gate proxy was kind of the golden standard of proxy gates for a long time in PvT, nowadays the second gate has become a lot more common, and I did not quite understand it, so I asked a couple of people who were playing it what the actual reason is. And the reason is because Terrans have been playing so much proxy racks, they've been playing a lot of double gas openers with a barracks hidden at their third or at their fourth base. And the double gate is an extremely good counter against that. So this build by itself can force the Terran to get their first barracks back in their main base, and that's of course a great thing already. Then on top of that, if you play a 2-gate against a build order that does not utilize an SCV scout, life is still pretty okay in my opinion, from what I've seen whenever I've seen this build used. If the Terran does not scout, which is also a relatively common occurrence, in that case, the toss most likely also wins. It's not a 100% win, but it is a favorable position. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen exactly here. So the first Reaper is out on the way. It's going to start scouting around the main base, trying to make sure that he knows what's kicking off here. It will be Reaper into Reactor as well as a second barracks. This is one of the builds that Cure have been doing recently, Reaper into 3 racks. This didn't used to be so popular, but nowadays it really gained in popularity, especially for Cure himself. I don't think he's going to scout this gate, by the way. Nope. It is absolutely unscoutable. First Zealot starts moving out. Battery is on the way in the main base as well. So this Reaper will need a long time to just get through the shield battery. And even if he manages to do that, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of units in your natural. Bunker is kind of late. He already noticed that there was nothing on the low ground. I guess just right now he realized what actually is kicking off. CC is not going to end up finishing either. Zealot, 2 Stalkers, and here come the Stalkers immediately attacking that SCV building the bunker. We see continued pressure on the bunker. I wonder if it's better to attack the bunker or the SCVs here. I feel like I'm actually not sure what is best. There has to be a point at where it's better to kill the SCVs, and there's a point where it's best to actually kill the bunker because you can kill it while the SCV is building it. Well, of course, killing the depot also is quite useful, as right now these Stalkers are in the main base, and they will start working on a lot of these SCVs. The worker count for Classic isn't super low either. This isn't like it is super all in. It, however, does need to deal some significant damage, and I think that significant damage definitely is being dealt right now. Extra Marauders on the way, Concussive Shell coming out as well. Marine Marauder trying to take out as many Stalkers as they can, as that Zealot actually ends up falling. These Stalkers will take a fair bit of damage, and now that the bunker is set up on the high ground, Cure seems to be safe, but the real problem is, ooh, Classic following this up with a robotics facility, saying, hey, I don't actually want to macro out of this. I want to kill you. And I think he can. I mean, he's up a fair share of workers. His opponent has no tech whatsoever. Technically, I know this is going to sound pretty stupid, but I think in theory, Classic could play a 1-base Immortal into Colossi build here and be absolutely fine and practically have no way of losing this game. I actually do believe that to be the case. There's nothing coming out of the barracks that fights well against Colossi. I mean, there's no factory on the way. We're working off of a single gas so far. I like what Cure is doing here. He's trying to, I don't want to call it a base trade, but just put on some heavy counter pressure. No, he's actually not trying to do that. I think he should be trying to put on some heavy counter pressure. This fight is not going to end up too well for him because there's straight up reinforcements with this. On top of that, we also have these line of sight blockers, which are definitely helping out Classic in this case. Another Marauder is going to show up, but yeah, once this Immortal pops out, life as we knew it for Cure is going to end. He has nothing. I would have loved if he would have ran around with the Marines and Marauders, tried to go for somewhat of a base trade while holding the high ground with a bunker. That way you kind of force Classic's hand and be like, hey, you're either going to lose 10 workers or you need to recall, and then you alleviate a lot of the pressure that was being put on your main base. So kind of a win-win in a way. And this, honestly, is kind of a lose-lose, because he loses his entire army. He's also going to lose the depots here. There's no bunker done. Stimpack is about to finish up, but this is a very fierce army. There's no combat shield done either. I mean, it's 6 Marines, 1 Marauder against 7 Stalkers, a Sentry, and an Immortal. GG gets called as Classic wins game number 1, and we'll be heading into our second game. And that game 2 is going to be played over here on Hardwire, in which Classic decides to keep his first SCV home. And that will change the game significantly from last one. This last game was a proxy 2-gate. This time that does not seem to be happening. Yeah, it's just a really cool build order that people have been experimenting with. It kind of started, I think, with Zaun, who proxy 3-gated Cure in... I want to say that was a GSL Super Tournament, but I can't quite recall where it was. This is kind of what started the train rolling, and people started experimenting with 2-gate Forge, started experimenting with 2-gates just in general, different types of 2-gates. We've seen like heavy Zealot usage, we've seen more Stalker focused 2-gates as well, like in that last game. I mean, there was 1 Zealot with it, but it's by no means a Zealot rush, like a Zealot all-in with like 4 or 5 Zealots, and then slowly but surely transitioning into either Adepts or Stalkers. No, this was a very a very conscious Stalker attack, and I like those as well. I think it's good. I think Stalkers might actually be better in the case of a more standard opener. So if it is indeed a proxy Rex, playing a double gate with 2 to 3 Zealots initially might be great, because you can just tear down the wall. There's going to be a factory in there, and with the insane DPS that the Zealot actually does possess, you will be able to break through that factory, I believe. I think that's kind of the entire point. Ooh, once again, Zealot popping out here for Classic. What was this opener? Was this a Nexus before Core? 31. Oh yeah, this is a Nexus before Core for sure. I was just not paying attention, so I had to check. He's cutting a worker, though, to get this Zealot out. This is something that Classic has been doing an insane amount of. He's been doing this extremely consistently, where he'll pop out a Zealot with a Nexus before Core. He'll very consistently go into Stargate as well, but as we see a Warp Gate being researched, perhaps he has multiple follow-ups. I don't actually know what this Zealot does. I do not understand it. I guess it is for scouting around the map for proxies, but I actually just don't get it. Like I look at it and I think to myself, all right, like what now? Like what's next? It's a big investment. It's 100 minerals, and the mineral cost isn't really the big investment, but you're getting it at a time where your second pylon hasn't finished yet. So you're supply blocking yourself at 23 out of 23, which means you need to cut probes, and that is the painful part. So basically you're giving up a probe and a half in building time to get a Zealot out that patrols your natural. This seems like an odd call to me, but Classic is a player that I respect an insane amount, that is very smart, and almost always has a goal set out to reach with whatever build he does. So there has to be something here that I'm just misunderstanding. If this was the build that you would play if you didn't scout your opponent, maybe that is what it is. Maybe he plays this when he doesn't scout, and it's okay against potential proxy racks. Did he not open with a scout? I didn't quite actually see that. It doesn't look... No, didn't actually ever go into the main base with a scout if he did. I can check this at the end of the game, but it's a very odd build order, but like I said, Classic, honestly fantastic player. So there'll be a reason for this. Second Immortal's being chrono boosted here, by the way. This seems to be going into this a super fast Robo Bay. Holy crap, I didn't realize. I was not looking at the timer here. So a standard timing for a Robo Bay is like 420, 425, 430. Anything before 450 I'm usually okay with. This Robo Bay finishes at 420. Like that is a different level, my friends. This is such an early Robo Bay. This has to be for a Colossi all-in. Combine that with the fact that there's 2 Immortals out already, like... Yeah, if this isn't an Immortal in, I'm going to be... Or a Colossi all-in, I'm going to be real confused. And these build orders work out so freaking well for Classic as well. Having a battery here, of course, would have been great. But even without the battery, I think this army should be capable of holding. I really do believe that. I mean, it's a large army. This is 2 Immortals. It sucks that there's no Guardian Shield yet, though. Guardian Shield would have been big. So this Bioforce is going to check the 3rd base. Yeah, there's no 3rd here. You do, however, have 2 Immortals. I mean, the 2 Immortals did get spotted by this Bio army. Cure should not be attacking into this. Absolutely not. Holy crap, this first Colossi is fast. He's going to hit before the first 2 Medivacs are out. If he hits with 2. This is a crazy timing. This actually is a crazy timing in my opinion. And I love that Classic is checking to make sure that there's no Bio armies hiding on the right side. Probably should check on the left side as well. If he gets a fight here, that would just be huge. Just getting any sort of fight would be so big for Classic right now. This is not an army that can take on Classic. It's not even close. Look at this Adept. This Adept needs to stay here. It's super important right now for Classic that this Adept does not leave. Because there's a secondary army that is kind of being used as a base trade army. So similar to the idea that I had in that first game where I was like, hey, it would be sick if Cure could force Classic's hand. It feels like that's what Cure actually wants to do right now. Infantry Weapons is about to finish up. Concussive Shell is finishing up. Vikings. Yes, this actually is a bit of a wild call, but probably the correct call here. You're being Colossal in. You need 3 bunkers, you need a turret. You needed the CC in your main base, by the way, not on the low ground, but whatever. Here comes the stim in. Will take out 3 Stalkers immediately for practically free. A lot of these probes are going to fall as well. At the same time, though, this is a powerful attack here. It looks like Cure already lost a lot of his units. Maybe should have even considered giving up the low ground, but that's always such a difficult call to make. Vikings start fighting as well right now. Decent first force field, second force field. Are you there? The answer so far is yes. The second force field does get planted down. Vikings are going to get taken out. You're not really controlling these Vikings is a little bit of a mistake. No continued Viking production either. So we just have a tank on the way. Can it siege up? Hello? Can we siege up the tank? No is the answer. The tank's just straight up gonna die. That's a big error there. That tank could have either dealt with a bunch of the Stalkers. Don't forget, these Stalkers do not have blink. Or the tank could have potentially dealt with the Colossi, which would have been huge. And because this SimCity isn't so easy to move through, I mean, with an SCV pool, maybe you can get, 3-4 shots off. That is a decent amount of units that you're killing, but, I mean, at this point, yeah, you're just most likely gonna lose. GG gets called. Classic wins game number 2 as well, puts himself on match point, and we're only 13 minutes in to this best of 5. Game number 3, and we're here with Classic once again, going back to the same thing he did in game number 1, or at least a similar start. He's moving out with his first probie. This bad boy is planning some nasty things. Bad boy things. He does not want to stay at home. He has adventurous plans. Here comes the first pylon down. 15 supply. Double gate is most likely just going to be the follow-up. We'll see if Cure decides to scout this time around, or if he has different plans, of course. It's kind of interesting to see Cure not proxy any of these barracks either. Like, he's just playing some very safe, or what he believes to be safe StarCraft 2. He's just getting absolutely blasted by Classic's builds here. It was a powerful Colossi timing attack there. One which we haven't quite seen in a while, honestly. This is the type of timing attack that was really common in Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, but kind of fell off at the start of Legacy of the Void. I'm not even quite sure why. I think... I don't actually know why. I think one of the main issues with it is that it's just not that great against factory openers, right? Factory openers scout it, they can get tank productions, and factory openers just got really, really popular during Legacy of the Void. The absolute standard are factory openers, the 1/1/1 opener, mine drops, Cyclone. Well, Cyclone opener is not as popular, but still, you get what I mean. This time, however, we have an SCV scout and a first zealot coming out as well. Now, with an SCV scout, life's going to just be a little bit harder. It's going to be a second zealot as well here. So a slight variation of that first build, I guess. Looks interesting. Looks very interesting to me. I'm really not too familiar with this build, so I don't quite know all the different variations. Like, I know that a lot of people have been doing it, but I haven't really been studying it in depth, being like, hey, what is going on here exactly? But this is a a couple of nice case studies here. So we have the first game that he managed to win with a single Zealot into 2 Stalkers, and now he'll follow it up with 2 Zealots into double Stalker, but with a way faster response here for Cure, right? So Cure scouting with his SCV, knowing what's going on, gets the bunker down, and now, well, what does Classic do from this point out? This main base is going to get attacked, this battery. Okay. So a second Zealot delays the battery in the main base. So I guess you would only do that if you believe that your opponent is opening up with a Marine. Classic did not make that correct read, and now ends up, well, in a pretty tough spot. 3 workers already have gone down. This bunker is up. These SCVs don't even need to be here, honestly. This Reaper is going to continue his absolute destruction of the main base of Classic. Look at this. This battery continues healing every single bit of shield. 1 Stalker gets sent home. This is an awful start here for Classic. Classic will need to transition out of this. He'll get a Twilight Council. And, well, if all your buildings are over here, I don't think it is too much of a stretch to take this as a gold base as well, right? Take out the rocks eventually. You have some close access to both your base and these buildings. I do believe that is going to be the answer here to all of his trouble. But it's a pretty mediocre answer. Like, let's face it right now. We have a Reaper with 5 kills on it. We have freaking 5 buildings proxied in a location that are easily accessible to the Terran once he wants to move out to it and kill it. Terran is up 3 workers. Terran has superior tech. Like, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but yeah, if you're a Protoss fan, this is a game that's not looking too hot. It remains a cheese, the 2-gate proxy. Or a cheese, an all-in, or, well, a powerful pressure build, we should perhaps call it. If you don't get the build order that you want to be playing against, it's just going to be really tricky to win with it. Now, of course, Classic is still going to try, and it's not completely over. Like, this game still is somewhat playable. There are some things that Classic can do, like killing this Reaper. That is big. I do believe, however, that Cure is pretty aware of what was going on here. I mean, he saw the probe move in this direction. He took out the probe with the Reaper. He has a Cyclone out. Now there's Banshees coming in. It's a good call. That's just a fantastic call. He scouted the Twilight Council. So the likelihood of there being a robotics facility at this point, while someone is playing off of 1 base, is kind of low. I love almost everything that Cure is doing here. I think the decisions that he's making, the response that he has shown so far, has just been fantastic. The only thing he's truly lacking is SCV production right now, and he immediately starts that back up. Because the moment you get your second, I think in this case maybe your 3rd tank is what you wait for, because you have Banshees on the way, so there's no need to rush out any of the tanks, or to rush out towards the low ground. I believe what you want to be doing is just continuing SCV production. So once you move down, you can just absolutely go ham there. I like how conservative he is with this tank placement. Does not want to put it at the ramp, does not want to start kind of edging down in towards a natural double gold base being taken here for Classic. I mean, this is an absolutely desperate attempt, and it's just not going to work. This Banshee is going to start heading in towards the main base. It's going to deal a lot of damage. There's no detection whatsoever. Should start by clearing this battery up the moment it can. I like that Classic. If he was a little bit faster with this, that would have been huge, because it would have allowed him to get the robotics facility. But, I mean, in this case, what are you even going to be doing? I don't quite understand it. Hello, Cure, can we go in? He really does need to go in here with this Banshee. This is kind of important. Robo is on the way. He's not really just going to wait for it, is he? This Banshee also flew over the Nexus. He is going to wait for it, and he's going to go into the double gold territory, I think. I think that's the plan here. Or we'll still go into the main base. Alright, Cure. We need to move fast, dude. You've been spotted. You've been spotted multiple times. As this robotics facility is still 20 seconds away. I mean, even if these Banshees don't kill anything, the game is still in favor of Cure. If these Banshees kill even just 5 probes, this game should be completely over. And I mean, they're gonna get 5 probes unless Cure falls asleep and forgets that he can kill probes. Yeah, he's gonna get way more. We're looking at his target fire isn't that great, by the way. He's missing a lot of the double shots, and he missed a couple of shots which he ended up hitting on these stalkers as well. 13, 14 workers. This is absolutely game over. I'm not even quite sure why Classic still is in it. as these Stalkers are coming back. Stim is on the way. Combat Shield should start soon as well. We have another barracks on the way. Perhaps a reactor could start at some point on this starport as well. I mean, there's 4 tanks, turrets. Cure just does not want to die right now. That's the only thing he's concerned about. He knows that if he stays alive, there's no way he's losing. Funnily enough, he's actually being outmined in minerals, because his opponent is fully mining from this gold, will soon be fully mining from this gold as well, and he's kind of lacking the gas mining, so it just throws down extra gateways. He needs charge lots, and it is the correct call. The moment Classic loses any type of map control, it's going to become impossible for him to do anything, because he'll lose all of these gateways, a lot of the pylons as well, and he won't be capable of defending this base. I mean, even if Cure just gets a 3rd base going, that is an arm's length away from this gold base, so it's kind of scary. I don't think Classic should jump up in here, no? It is very little space to maneuver in. I don't think you're gonna get out of there too successfully. It's difficult for me to believe. So this SCV is going to end up spotting this gold bad boy. We have a single medevac heading probably towards the main or towards the gold. And right now Cure is completely aware of the situation as it is. Banshee is going to get away. Ooh, kind of tricking the observer there. Look at that. That's some nice movement here out of Cure, realizing what's going on, and probably starts working on, well, what's it going to be? The battery or these probes? I wouldn't mind if it just starts attacking the battery. Instead, we'll go for the probes. We still have this marine drop somewhere, no? I know we had a marine drop somewhere. Where's it going? Is it gone? It must have died, or it must have returned back home. Oh, it's here. How did I miss that? That's a tricky to spot on the minimap for some reason for me. Alright, well, this pylon will get taken out. There's a lot of army for Classic, huh? He also has a lot of money in the bank still. Look at that. 900 minerals. However, he just doesn't quite have the production at this moment. He's making a game out of it, and that surprises me. Will be capable of taking out this medevac. Needs to start getting these extra pylons. He only has 8 gateways, and mining 3k a minute, you know, you're just not going to be capable of spending that. These pros will need to retreat right now. 3rd base is done for Cure. I mean, it's still just a massively advantageous situation here for Cure, who is now going to get locked out of his own natural, at least temporarily. There are medevacs here, though. There's more bio as well. Yeah, this game is... this is a bit of a suicide mission here. There's no recall either anymore, because you just have to recall to save his gold base, or to save his main base, excuse me. Lots of sentry energy is being used, and that makes sense, because these sentries are going to end up dying in the next few seconds. Right now it's 2 base versus 3 base. It is 43 workers against 43. The army supply is double in favor of Cure, and it looks like Cure is finally going to get himself on the board. Get that first win, get that first map win, and be a little bit more competitive in this best of 5, because so far he had been struggling to really just get anything done whatsoever. And this game, with the early scout, managing to hold the 2 gate, managing to just secure his natural, and then some nice damage with the Banshees as well. Makes you wonder what would have happened if these Banshees wouldn't have killed 21 workers. If that pylon over here was just 15 or 20 seconds faster. Classic really did make a game out of it, and I did not expect that. I really did not expect that. The double gold felt like a desperation play, but perhaps it wasn't desperation, but just a very good call. And maybe Classic just knew that. Dodges a lot of these mine shots as well, and once again, he's doing a lot with very little. I just have to admit that. Like, Classic is a fantastic player, but if you're down 40 supply at this point in the game, life is difficult, alright? Dark Shrine is probably a correct call, but there are triple orbital commands, and they have plenty of energy to scan. There's a turret in the natural already as well. We now have a 4th barracks finishing up here for Cure. I mean, if Cure ever manages to walk across the map, the game just ends. And I'm surprised that he hasn't been capable of doing that just yet. And he scans forward, sees a couple of units. Oh, actually, he has like half his army on the map already. Yeah, half of his army apparently is enough to clear the entire army of Classic. A couple more zealots are coming in, but yeah, there's so much bio. Holy crap. This isn't even close. GG gets called. 2-1 is the score as we'll head into game number 4. Game number 4 here on Glittering Ashes. We have Classic not sending the first probe out immediately, and thus we'll have our gateway starting at home. He scouts with a probe. I'm going to be paying some close attention here to the build that Classic wants to be doing, because I want to see what this Zealot build is, whether he does it or not. He is opening up with a wall that would require a Zealot to finish the wall. So this is a wall that requires 3x3 structures. So gateway, cybercore, gateway, or gateway, cybercore, Stargate, Robo, Twilight. Whatever you want in the wall. You can do whatever you want. However, because he opts to wall this with a pylon, a 2x2 structure, and a cybercore will be placed over here, there is just a single hex, or a single block, whatever you call it, a building block, in which the Reaper can enter. That would mean, okay, it's going to be a Nexus here, yeah. So, okay, this is the exact build order that we saw in the second game, and he does scout with it. But then the Zealot. Zealot, pylon, assimilator. Okay. This is just a really interesting build order to me, because I haven't seen it before. I'm not quite sure what to think of it. I just don't understand it. I'll need to ask him, because I can't figure it out. I want to... Yeah, okay. So the reason you could say is because it helps early on against a Reaper. You have one extra unit which can help against pushes. You get similar eco as you would get with core before Nexus. So that is something. Like this is the wall that I was talking about. You require the Zealot in the wall. He's been playing this for a while on this map already, so I was familiar with it. It's not like I just figured it out on the spot. No, so it is similar eco to a core before Nexus, but it has an adept that is 10 seconds later, and you invest 100 minerals in a unit that isn't super useful. However, your Nexus is done quicker. It can allow for... Well, it's not actually faster tech, is it? It's not faster tech at all. It's actually slower tech than with a Nexus before core, and honestly this Robo is so late, it's even slower tech than it would have been with a core before Nexus. Now I just believe that's the case here, because he decided to delay the Robo rather than build it immediately, and why that happened I am not sure of. There's a lot of units being produced out of this gate as well, so this already is the third unit after Cybercore, but of course with the Zealot out, it feels like Classic just wants to deny scouting as much as he can. He doesn't care about anything else. He says, hey, we can play this game, but we can only play this game on my terms. And my terms are that you don't get to see anything. I think that is kind of what is happening right now. Is he's just hiding what's going on, and Cure needs to try and get some info, but he's not going to be capable of getting that info. And that sucks. That is just the painful reality of this. So the second pylon will complete this wall. Look at these adept. He's going to try to jump himself over. Pop! Does not work. It always looks so sad. Poor Reaper throws his own grenade on his feet to, with the power of the explosion will pop him over the wall. And then if it doesn't quite end up working out, it's of course a very sad moment. Turret being constructed in the natural right now. We have a bunch of Marines being pushed out. We'll start marching across the map together with these two Marauders, as the Stim and the Combat Shield is about to finish up. We have an eBay finished as well, which should start +1. It's going to start it after the factory. No second gas yet. There's a possibility he takes gas 2 and 3 at pretty identical timings. He's going to get oversaturated otherwise, so he'll need to get it. Uncharacteristic SCV cut here. As we have the same build, by the way, or a very similar build, this time with only a single Immortal, coming out of Classic. As game number 2. So he just did 2 build orders in this best of 5 so far, and he just repeated each build order once. Well, at least so far. This Colossi is going to pop out 5 minutes into the game before the freaking attack hits. I would not recommend attacking into this Cure. I would not recommend this. This is... Ooh, missed target fire! Huge missed target fire there out of the Colossi. What a mistake! He attacked the Marauder twice. Oh, wow. That was huge. That's just, yeah, that you can't just A-move. You need to right-click on the Marines, obviously, there. Marines just taking so much extra damage from that Colossi and would just die immediately. But that Marauder, yeah, it can tank a bit. That was a very big error. Uncharacteristic error there out of Classic as well, because yeah, this cost him his Colossi, and this fight should have been perfect it still is a fight that was good. But if you keep that Colossi alive, you literally only lose a sentry and you kill 16 units of your opponent. A sentry against, what was it, like 14 Marines and 2 Marauders? Yeah, it's a pretty okay trade. I think most Protoss players would want to take that. Once again, with this Adept Scout, is going to see a lot of these Marines trying to march across the map. Classic still remembers what happened that first time around. This time we actually have tanks popping out. So rather than rushing straight into these Vikings, Kjur decided to pop over some tanks, start producing these against the Colossi all in. Tanks are a great solution to the problem that is the Colossi, of course, as tanks do outrange the Colossus, and they also do a crap ton of damage to everything in this army. Stalkers, Colossi, they deal a lot of damage to sentries as well. But that's just because sentries don't have that much HP. Sentries is a really weak unit. In the Wings of Liberty beta, it was quite powerful. It had way more damage output as well. Like, I think it had like 2 extra attack or something like that. I remember you just built 3 gates with Zealot, Stalker, Sentry. You just right-click bunkers. It's actually crazy how strong it was. No, it doesn't sound like it was, but I remember seeing bunkers just disappear. When I initially started playing, I was super afraid of bunkers. Whenever I would see one, I would just not attack into it. Like, man, that's 400 HP. There's no way I'm killing that. But then I saw someone, I think it was actually Liquid Nazgul who did it. Just was right-clicking bunkers with sentries and zealots and a couple of stalkers in there. I was like, man, that looks sick. I started doing that as well. Here we are, 12 years later. Still playing StarCraft 2 and clicking bunkers. Alright, that seems to be the plan as well here for Classic. Clicking that bunker. As there's a pretty decently sized army. He starts moving in. There's a lot of sentries in this though. With some good target fire, these are going to fall quite rapidly. Ooh, a lot of SCVs in trouble though. Classic might just be winning this game right here, right now. 23 SCVs have gone down. And I kind of doubt the... Ooh, quick response. I didn't even see it on the minimap. The freaking Classic saw it and immediately recalled before they even got to unload. So that is pretty fast. Maybe you should have waited though for the unload, and it takes longer for them to, you know, to pick up again. There's a little bit of extra time. Maybe you could have killed more. These medevacs once again try to go in towards the main, but there is a Colossi with drop in this prism. I wonder if pulling all the SCVs to fight there against the Colossi was the correct call. Tanks weren't really being dealt with yet. There was a big force field wall already, so what is the point, you could ask? And I think Kjur just wanted to stay alive until his drop hit. That really just was the main plan, and well, he managed to succeed, but I'm not so sure if he's in a great position right now. I mean, losing 23 workers, 24 workers, yeah, that's usually not something that I would suggest to anyone. I mean, it's not like all the beginner's guides state that, you know? It's like, when you're playing Terran, it is wise to lose 23 workers against the Protoss. This will give the Protoss a lot of confidence, and he will start making stupid errors. Like, that is not how most Bronze 2 GMs start, you know? They're usually, you know, keeping your worker count high, building more workers. And same stays true here for Kjur, who probably needs a couple more workers. He's not really building them though. Now gets that double gas and starts his next production cycle of SCVs. Quad drop heading towards the main base. There are a lot of units in position. These zealots do not have charge. If he can kind of dodge this army and drop into this space, I think Kjur will be fine. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing, because these zealots will not be capable of getting there. I think 4 should be cancelled. It's not going to get cancelled. It will kind of function as a funnel here. These zealots start getting into that position, get a couple of slices off, but it's not going to be enough. Colossi with the long range is dealing a lot of damage, but these Marauders are also tanking a lot of damage. These Stalkers are going to get targeted down. More of these workers will fall as well. At the same time, a huge push here with the tanks at the third base. And this actually is more tanks than Bio, it feels like. But, I mean, once you have a siege position with 5 tanks, it's going to be pretty difficult to break here as these Marauders continue chasing this prism, or perhaps the prism kept chasing these Marauders. And yeah, I don't think Classic can easily attack into this. With some good target fire on the sentries, a lot of these should fall as well. Probes moving in, target fire on the Immortal for now. It's an odd choice, but I mean, I will accept it. It's okay. Colossi should get taken out here. At least one more. Can we get some target fire on that? Yep, we can. So this was an absolutely brilliant fight. Next 2 medevacts are being sent out. Classic just taps out. There was still a drop in his main as well, I believe. So yeah, it was like, well, drop. Two Marauders and 4 medevacts. But yeah, this game is absolutely over. Correct call to leave here. Score is 2-2, and we'll be heading into our final game, Game 5 of this best of 5. And here we have it, our final game in this best of 5. as Classic keeps the probe at home, and that kind of breaks the pattern. Game 1 and Game 3, of course, were the proxies. Game 2 and Game 4 were the macro games. He's going to not scout this time around, though. Or maybe he will scout, but just a little bit later. That's of course also allowed. I will not hate it. I just scout for proxies around his main base. There's a lot of different ways you can scout in this matchup. There's a lot of different things you can do. And for now it seems like Classic is very comfortable with the way that he has been playing. With that Nexus into that Zealot. Is it actually a 90 Nexus? No, it's a 20 Nexus, yeah. So just a very standard opener, but with a twist, with that Zealot. I'm not sure if I have him on Discord, but I think I could get his contact, because I really want to know what this is. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Cybercore gets thrown down here, and we'll have to wait and see. Yep, it's going to be the same thing, because he wants to go downstairs to build that pylon here, right? That is what this is. It's going to be a pylon probe. Yep, here we go. No, actually not the case. So it's just going to be in a simulator. So this time no Zealot, no Scout, no Zealot. And he's going to proxy a Stargate here on the map. This will allow Cure to not scout that easily. So Cure sees the second pylon go down on the low ground. He'll know that there's a pylon on the high ground. And TOS doesn't need more than 2 pylons for a very long time. Because together with the Nexus, it gets you 46 supply. So that is a lot of supply that you can fill in. Sometimes you don't even need to get the 3rd pylon before you build your 3rd Nexus. With certain build orders. There's a very limited amount of build orders that have that, but they do exist. I think he's even gonna get a 4th pylon to wall this off in case of a Reaper. There is no Reaper, however. So I think Classic... He was actually just waiting for the Reaper timing. Look at that. 232, he walks away. He's like, okay, there's no Reaper here. I'm good. That is cool. That is really, really cool. Nice little trick that he had there, wanting to deny the scouting. And he's been building the tech in his natural every single game so far. Let's not forget about that. So even if a Reaper would pop up here or pop up here and see no tech, they still would need to check this area, because that's where the tech has been so far in this series. If this Hellion scouts the Stargate, that would actually be super unlucky. Or well, it would just be good for Cure. Not too much to do with luck, I guess, because he just scouts very consistently around the map with these Hellions. I think this is one of the big differences between like the top Terrans and some of the lower level Terrans. It's just this consistency with the scouting, the consistency of checking for tricks, and the consistency of practically everything, honestly. Follow-up is going to be a Twilight Council with 2 gateways as well. This is Triple Adept as an opener. Oracle probably will stay with a single Oracle. I really like this type of build order. It has the initial trick of the Proxy Stargate Oracle, and then it has the secondary trick of the Blink here. So a couple of these Marines are actually going to end up falling. These Adepts might actually get the shade into the main base. No, they don't. All the Adepts stay alive, at least from what I can see. There's a 3rd Adept here as well. This Hellion should be capable of blocking this base for a bit. That's super annoying if you're Classic here. That is so frustrating. I can feel the frustration. I hate it when this happens. Sometimes because you also want to build a pylon over there, and it might delay one of the pylons that is pretty darn important. So, yeah, that is extremely frustrating, losing that 1 probe there. Of course, a couple of Marines have gone down. 3 Marines, 1 probe. Still kind of like this for Cure, because this could have been really bad, right, with the Stargate proxy, but it honestly didn't do too much. A 3 Adept investment is an investment that, you don't get any interest on that. Let's put it like this. This is like investing in yogurt. Like it doesn't last for very long. Like these Adepts become pretty much worthless in the next 2 minutes or so. Like it's a massive timer. It just doesn't age very well. Yeah, it really doesn't. So I think what Classic wants to do right now is he wants to get some damage done and try to get rid of these Adepts in a natural way. Like just throw them in there, kill 2-3 Marines with it, or 4 workers. Like that would be great. You'd love that, because Adepts are great in the early game. They have a lot of utility there for scouting, for defending. They don't cost a lot of gas, which allows you to get other tech quickly. Allows you to get at the Oracle fast as well. I hope that Marine does not spot the Stasis Ward here. That would be super unfortunate. Does the Stasis spot the Marine? No. Both of them unaware of one another, yet in close proximity. That is the beauty of the Animal Kingdom. A couple of Stalkers will pick off one Marine there. Good control, honestly. There's not a single tank though, so it's not like he could mess anything up. Like if he loses a Stalker to a bunker, that would honestly be kind of sad. Single Viking has landed here, triple sentry. Now this is the classic style that we know and are very familiar with. The way that Classic really likes to play this matchup is by... Ooh, actually missed that revelation. It's by getting +1 charge. That's a bad loss. That is really bad, losing that Oracle there. But what I was going to say is that he loves to just get a lot of gateways out, +1 and charge, 3 sentries. And then basically what you do is you just hold ramps with the sentries and with your Stalkers with the +1 while you counterattack with big Zealot counterattacks. And I'm not talking like 2 Zealots into the natural to kill like 3 workers. No, it's like 15 Zealots running in to kill everything, basically. This is an aggressive blink forward here, and this could actually end the game, and not in favor of Classic, because Cure's gonna see this and be like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for me to move command all my units up this ramp, and actually accidentally, I don't think this was, oh my god, misses the force field. Yeah, this is game. It's actually game. It's game. What a terrible way to go here for Classic. Fantastic series it has been, but makes one big error here, and that's not completely force-fielding the ramp. This was definitely a move command out of Cure, by the way, is what I was gonna say. He was not paying attention to his army. He accidentally walked up here. I was like, hey, my Raven's actually in a good position for 3 auto turrets. Throws down the auto turrets. In panic, Classic misses his force field. This is such a sad way to lose the series. It's actually over. There's nothing he can do. He does not have the units. There's 7 Zealots right now. Yeah. There's mines. There's medevacs. GG. Cure wins the series 3-2 after being down 2-0 against some cool build orders, but Classic did not have the innovation in the other games, did not have the cool starts, the solid openers like he had in game 1 and 2, and did not manage to get the win. So Cure, 3 in a row, gets the best of 5. Congrats to him. Thanks to all of you for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.